Mike, you have very interesting taste in creativity in music, and we want to know, like, how was the band Rosetta formed? Like, how did you guys come to be? Because your genre really is really different. It's very different than anything I've ever heard, and it's very, very encompassing in a lot of different areas. So how was Rosetta formed?
I was booking shows in Havertown, Pennsylvania, which is where my mom lives. And Matt, Dave, and BJ were all playing in various bands from the area. So I'd book them for various shows every now and again. And one night we just got together at a show, and we just kind of jokingly said, hey, we should get together and start a band. Why not? It would be fun. We were all in other bands that weren't really making us all that happy. I mean, we were just kind of going through the motions with them. We didn't see them going very far. So we were like, yeah, why the hell not? Why don't we get together and do a band that we actually really want to do? We really want something that's going to encompass all of the experimental stuff that we think about doing in our regular bands that we can't do due to creative, walls and all that kind of stuff.
It says that your band has expressed a problem with the term post-metal. Wait, can you explain that a little bit?
Well, metal's not over. How can you be, that's the simplest answer I can give you. Metal never ended.
Yeah.
It just evolved, and this is just one little branch on that tree. And on top of that, the bands that do even recognize themselves as a post-metal band, we feel very little in common with bands like that. We really do try and stay away and steer clear from that term.
That's like a psyche thing.
Yeah, it can be a dirty word. Like, oh, you're just a post-rock band. I'm like, ooh. I mean, I get if that's what you hear, then all right. But we don't feel that way about ourselves.
What do you do to keep the peace? And what information would you give to other bands that try to follow your footsteps?
What the key, in my opinion, is the fact that we don't tour 9 months out of the year. In fact, we just do these 6 month stretches. 6 weeks. We just do 6 week stretches, and that's really the key. Is that during the year we'll do weekends throughout the fall and spring, and then in the summertime is when we'll hit the road really hard. Whether we're in Europe, whether we're in Australia, whether in the United States. At that moment, when we're on the road for 6 weeks, it can be tiresome to be in a van with the same guys for 6 weeks doing the same thing, knowing that, we're away from our families, we're off our diets, we're not sleeping properly. You get at each other's throats. Like, it happens, and it happens to us. But the fact that we don't have to spend all of our waking hours thinking about Rosetta really helps the longevity of Rosetta.
You guys have toured a lot. I mean, a lot. You've been to Budapest. You've been to Berlin. You've been to Mannheim. You're in Philly, in New York, obviously. Welcome home. What is after this? And where are you going to be on New Year's? Are you going to be performing? Are you going to be home? What's next after this? So people can, so newcomers like, people that have seen or just seen you maybe through this interview can follow you and look forward to, the next show.
There's talk of Canada. There's talk of Alaska. And then what we do know for sure is that summer 2012 we'll be back in Australia and New Zealand. So that's a definite. We are going back to Australia, and we're going to be doing some dates in New Zealand. That's for sure. There's talk of later on this year going to Canada to play a round of shows that we actually have to make up because we had to cancel our shows in August that were in Canada. So we're going to go back and do that. New Year's, we will probably all be doing our own thing. I'm 99% sure I will be at home on New Year's.
So we've come to our special question. It's away from the general band related stuff. It's a little bit more personal. Your music is known for being metal for astronauts. So what is your favorite movie and why?
Man. My favorite movie. I gotta think about this. It is tough. I watch a lot of movies. Solaris was great. So I mean, that genre I'm especially a fan of. Blade Runner. Total Recall was hokey. I thought. I was like, because I was into it when it first came out because I was young, but I was like, if I went back and watched it, I was like, ooh, what the hell was I thinking?
If you were on an island and you were like, you know what, I need a new song for Rosetta. I'm gonna watch this movie to get some inspiration. What movie would that be?
I think I would have to. Nah. I think I would probably have to rewatch the Space Odyssey films again, just because there's so much in there. Especially now, because there's a documentary that's just come out about Stanley Kubrick and how all of the stuff in his Space Odyssey films was really about him filming the Apollo moon landings. And I haven't seen it yet, but man, now that I've read this article, I want to go and rewatch them and try and figure all that out and see how accurate it actually is.